What's up, everybody? Today we are going to be talking about all 151 original Kanto Pokemon, from the iconic starters to the powerful legendaries, and even those Pokemon everyone forgets about. We're covering them all. So whether you're here for nostalgia, to test your Pokemon knowledge, or just to see your favorite, this video has something for every trainer. So grab your Pokedex, hit that like button if you're ready, and let me know in the comments what Pokemon from the Kanto region is your favorite of all time. Let's jump into the world of Kanto and catch all 151 Pokemon starting right now. Bulbasaur uses nutrients that are stored in the seed on its back in order to grow when it's young. Ivysaur will lose the ability to stand on its hind legs when the bulb on its back grows too large. Venusaur has a bewitching aroma that wafts from its flower. The fragrance becomes those engaging in battle. Charmander has a preference for hot things. When it rains, steam is said to sprout from the tips of its tail. Charmeleon has a barbaric nature. In battle, it whips its fiery tail around and slashes away with its sharp claws. Charizard spits fire that is hot enough to melt boulders. It may cause forest fires by blowing flames. Squirtle will draw its limbs inside of its shell and spray water from its mouth when it feels threatened. Turtle cleverly controls its furry ears and tail to maintain its balance while swimming. Blastoise crushes its foes under its heavy body to cause fainting. Caterpie releases a horrible stench from the antenna on its head to drive away enemies for protection. Metapod is waiting for a moment to evolve. At this stage, it can only harden, so it remains motionless to avoid attacks. Butterfree flaps its wings at great speed to release highly toxic dust in the air during battle. A Weedle hides in grass and bushes where it eats leaves, and you should beware of that sharp stinger on its head. Kukuno is only able to move slightly. When endangered, it may stick out its stinger and poison its enemies. Beedrill has 3 poisonous stingers on its forelegs and its tail. They're used to jab enemies repeatedly. Pidgey is very docile. If attacked, it will often kick up sand to protect itself rather than fight. Pidgeotto is full of vitality. It constantly flies around its large territory in search of prey. Pidgeot flies at Mach 2's speed. Seeking prey, its large talons are feared as wicked weapons. Tata will chew on anything with its fangs. If you see one, you can be certain that 40 more live in the area. Raticate's hind feet are webbed. They act like flippers so it can swim in rivers and hunt for prey. Spear is inept at flying high. However, it can fly around very fast to protect its territory. Spearow is a Pokemon that dates back many years. If it senses danger, it flies high and away instantly. Ekans grows longer the older it gets. At night, it whips its very long body around tree branches to rest. Arbok has frightening powers on its belly that have been studied. Pikachu can gather the electricity and build up a strong lightning storm. Raichu's ears will stand straight up if the cheeks become fully charged with electricity. Sandshrew loves to bathe in the grit of dry, sandy areas. By sand bathing, the Pokemon rids itself of dirt and moisture clinging to its body. The drier the area Sandslash lives in, the harder and smoother this Pokemon's spikes will feel when touched. Nidoran females are more sensitive to smell than males. While foraging, they'll use their whiskers to check wind directions and stay downwind of predators. Nidoran's horn on its head has atrophied. It's thought that this happens so Nidoran's children won't get poked while their mother is feeding them. Nidoqueen is better at defense than offense. With its scale-like armor, this Pokemon will shield its children from any attack. Nidoran male has a horn on its forehead that contains a powerful poison. It is a very cautious Pokemon, always straining its large ears. Nidorino is nervous and quick to act aggressively. The potency of its poison increases along with the level of the adrenaline present in its body. Nidoking prides itself on its strength. It's forceful and spirited in battle, making use of its thick tail and diamond-crushing horn. Clefairy was originally going to be the official mascot of Pokemon, but Pikachu was used instead due to the popularity of the anime and Pikachu's familiarity with its fans. Fable is a timid fairy Pokemon that is rarely seen. It will run and hide the moment it senses people. When Vulpix is young, it has 6 gorgeous tails, but as it grows, several new tails will begin to sprout. Ninetales is said to live 1,000 years, and each of its tails loaded with supernatural powers. When Jigglypuff inflates to sing a lullaby, it can perform longer and cause sure drowsiness in its audience. Wigglytuff has very fine fur. Take care not to anger it, or it may inflate steadily and hit you with a body slam. Zubat is known to drain energy from its prey using its sharp fangs. Zubat feeds on the blood of other Pokemon or even unsuspecting humans. This ability to drain energy makes it a formidable opponent in battle. Golbat is known for its relentless pursuit of blood. Golbat's insatiable thirst for blood drives it to attack and feed on the blood of other Pokemon, even humans, just like its pre-evolution. Otter stays in the cold underground to avoid the sun during the day. It grows by bathing in moonlight. Gloom has what appears to be drool coming from its mouth, but it's actually sweet honey. It is very sticky and clings stubbornly if touched. Vileplume has the world's largest petals. With every step, the petals shake out heavy clouds of toxic pollen. The larger the petals, the more toxic pollen it contains. Paris burrows under the ground to gnaw on tree roots. The mushroom on its back absorbs most of the nutrients. Parasect, the bug host is drained of its energy by the mushroom on its back. The mushroom appears to do all of its thinking. Then it has poison that oozes from all over its body. It catches small bug Pokemon at night that are attracted by the light. Venomoth's wings are covered in dust-like scales. Every time it flaps its wings, it loosens up highly toxic dust. Diglett lives about 1 yard underground where it feeds on plant roots. Dugtrio has 3 heads that bob up and down separately to loosen up soil nearby, making it easier to burrow. Meow does all of its sleeping during the daytime. At night, it patrols its territory with its eyes aglow. Persian has a vicious temperament. Beware if it raises its tail straight up. It's a signal that it is about to pounce and bite. Psyduck is constantly racked by a headache. When the headache turns intense, it begins using mysterious powers. Golduck's forehead will somehow begin to glow when it swims at full speed using its long webbed limbs. Mankey lives in groups at the treetops. If it loses sight of its group, it becomes infuriated by its loneliness. Primate becomes wildly furious if it senses someone looking at it. It chases anyone that meets its glance. Growlithe has a brave and trustworthy nature. It fearlessly stands up to bigger and stronger foes. Arcanine's magnificent bark conveys a sense of majesty. Anyone hearing it can't help but grovel before it. Poliwag has an easier time swimming than walking, and the swirl pattern on its belly is actually part of the Pokemon's innards showing through the skin. Poliwhirl's sweat is a slimy mucus. When captured, Poliwhirl can slither from its enemy's grasp and escape. Poliwrath's body is solid muscle. When swimming through cold seas, Poliwrath uses its impressive arms to smash through drift ice and plow forward. Abra uses its psychic power while sleeping. The contents of Abra's dreams affect the power that the Pokemon wields. Kadabra uses its psychic power to levitate while sleeping. It then uses its springy tail as a pillow. Alakazam has an incredibly high level of intelligence. Some say that Alakazam remembers everything that ever happened to it from birth till death. Chop's whole body is composed of muscles. Even though it's the size of a human child, it can hurl 100 grown-ups. Machoke's muscular body is so powerful, it must wear a power save belt to be able to regulate its motions. Machamp can throw punches with its forearms at blinding speed. It can launch 1,000 punches within 2 seconds. Bellsprout prefers hot and humid places. It ensnares tiny bugs with its vines and devours them. Weepinbell will swallow anything that moves when it's hungry. Its helpless prey is dissolved by the strong acid in its stomach. Victreebel will lure in prey with the sweet aroma of honey. Swallowed whole, the prey is dissolved in a day, bones and all. Tentacool is not a particularly strong swimmer. It drifts across the surface of shallow seas as it searches for prey. Tentacruel's 80 tentacles can stretch and shrink freely. It ensnares prey in a net of its spread out tentacles, delivering venomous stings to its catch. Geodude is commonly found near mountain and trails. If you step on one by accident, it gets angry. Graveler is often seen rolling down mountain trails. Obstacles are just things to roll straight over, not avoid. Its body turns tender and whitish when it sheds its skin. Its hide hardens when it's exposed to air. Ponytail's fiery mane and tail grow out about an hour after birth, giving this Pokemon an impressive appearance. Rapidash gallops at nearly 150 miles per hour. With its mane blazing furiously, it races as if it were an arrow. Galarian Rapidash's Psycho Cut is so strong that the move will punch a hole right through thick sheets of metal. Slowpoke is incredibly slow and dopey, but it also takes 5 seconds for it to feel pain when under attack. Slowbro will revert back to an ordinary Slowpoke if the biting Shellder is thrown off its tail. Magnemite moves while constantly hovering. It discharges electromagnetic waves and so on from the units at its side. Magneton are formed by several Magnemite linking together. They frequently appear when sunspots flare up. Farfetch can't live without the stock it holds. That's why it defends the stock from attackers with its life. The Duo's short wings make flying difficult. Instead, this Pokemon runs at high speeds on developed legs. The Duo's 2 heads split to form a unique species known as the Dugtrio. It can run at over 40 miles per hour. Still loves freezing cold conditions. It relishes swimming in frigid climates of around 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Dugong's entire body is a snowy white, unharmed by even dense cold. It swims powerfully in icy waters. Grimer is born from sludge. These Pokemon now gather in polluted places and increase the bacteria in their bodies. Muck is covered with a thick and filthy vile sludge that is so toxic that even its footprints contain poison. Shellder is encased in a shell that is harder than diamonds. However, inside it is surprisingly tender. Cloyster that live in seas with harsh tidal currents grow large, sharp spikes on their shells. Ghastly can envelop an opponent of any size and cause suffocation despite lacking substance. Haunter likes to lurk in the dark and tap shoulders with its gaseous hands. The touch causes endless shuddering. Gengar likes to hide in people's shadows at night and absorb their heat. Onyx is able to absorb many hard objects as it digs through the ground, which makes its body solid. Drowsy remembers every dream it eats. It rarely eats the dreams of adults because children's are much tastier. Hypno will use a mix of PSI moves such as Hypnosis and Confusion when it locks eyes with an enemy. Krabby's large pincers grow back if they are torn out of their sockets. Kingler's large pincer has 10,000 horsepower strength. However, it's so heavy, it's difficult to aim. Voltorb can explode if it's suddenly jolted by a bump in the ground as it's rolling around. An Electrode gets faster the more energy it charges up, but this is also more likely to make it explode. Execute gets nervous when they're not in a group of 6. The minute even one member of the group goes missing, Execute becomes cowardly. Executor's 3 heads can put out powerful psychic energy, and on cloudy days, this Pokemon becomes sluggish. Cubone wears the skull of its deceased mother. Sometimes its dreams makes it cry, but with each tear Cubone sheds, it makes it stronger. Marowak's temperament turned vicious once it evolved, as well as its mother's skull being fused with it. Hitmonlee's legs freely contract and stretch. The stretchy legs allow it to hit a distant foe with a rising kick. Hitmonchan's punches slice the air, however, it seems to need a short break after fighting for 3 minutes. Licking Tongue paralyzes its prey with a lick from its long tongue, then swallows the prey whole. Coughing floats into garbage dumps, seeking out the fumes of raw, rotting trash. Wheezing grows by feeding on gases released by garbage. Though very rare, triplets have been found. Rhyhorn is strong but not too bright. This Pokemon can shatter even a skyscraper with its charging tackles. Rhydon is protected by an armor-like hide. It is capable of living in molten lava of 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit. Chansey lays highly nutritious eggs and shares them with injured Pokemon or people. Tangela's vines have a distinct scent. In some parts of Galar, Tangela's vines are used as herbs. Kangaskhan is swift on its feet even though it carries a baby in its pouch on its belly. Horsey makes its home in oceans with gentle currents. If this Pokemon is under attack, it spits out a pitch black ink to escape. Seadra's mouth is slender, but the suction power is strong. In an instant, Seadra can suck in food that's larger than the opening of its mouth. Goldine's dorsal and pectoral fins are strongly developed like muscles. It can swim at a speed of 5 knots. Seaking uses its horn to bore holes in riverbed boulders, making nests to prevent its eggs from washing away. Staryu's body regenerates quickly, even if part of it's been completely torn off. Starmie swims by spinning its body at a high speed. As the Pokemon cruises through the ocean, it absorbs tiny plankton. Mr. Mime emits emanations from the fingertips that solidify the air into visible walls that repel even harsh attacks. Scyther slashes through tall grass with its sharp sides, moving too fast for the human eye to track. Jinx was once feared and worshipped as the Ice Queen in certain parts of Galar. Electabuzz seeks out electricity at power plants. This is why many power plants have ground-type Pokemon around. Magmar dispatches its prey with fire, but it regrets this habit once it realizes that it's burned to a crisp. Pinsir clamps its pincers down on its prey and either splits it in half or flings it away. Tauros will lower its head and charge at its prey once it takes aim on it. It is famous for its violent nature. Magikarp is an underpowered, pathetic Pokemon. It may jump high on rare occasions, but never more than 7 feet. Gyarados goes on a rampage once it appears. It remains enraged until it demolishes everything around. Lapras loves crossing the sea with people and Pokemon on its back. It understands human speech. Ditto's transformation ability is perfect. However, if you made it laugh, it can't maintain its disguise. Eevee's ability to evolve into many forms allows it to adapt smoothly and perfectly to any environment. Vaporeon's cell composition is similar to water. As a result, it can't be seen when it melts away into water. Jolteon uses its electricity to straighten out its fur and launch it in small batches. Flareon fluffs out its fur collar to cool down its body temperature, which can reach 1,650 degrees Fahrenheit. Porygon is very helpful in cyberspace. These Pokemon will go around checking to make sure there are no suspicious data. Albanite paddles through water with its 10 tentacles, looking like it's just drifting along. Almost sharp fangs can crush a rock, but the Pokemon can only attack prey that come within reach of its tentacles. Kabuto sightings are apparently fairly common in some places, while some say the species have gone extinct. Kabutops slices its prey apart and sucks out the fluids. The discarded body parts become food for other Pokemon. Aerodactyl's saw-like fangs can shred skin to tatters, even the skin of Steel-type Pokemon. Snorlax's stomach can digest any kind of food, even if it happens to be moldy or rotten. Articuno can create blizzards by freezing moisture in the air. Zapdos is said to live in thunderclouds. It freely controls lightning bolt. Moltres' appearance is said to indicate the coming of spring. Teeny sheds many layers of skin as it grows longer. During this process, it's protected by a rapid waterfall. Dragonair emits an aurora from its whole body. When this happens, the weather will begin to change instantly. Dragonite can fly in spite of its big and bulky physique. It can circle the globe in just 16 hours. Mewtwo's DNA is almost the same as Mew's. Mew is the only genderless Pokemon that can learn Captivate and Attract. And that's every single one of the original 151 Kanto Pokemon. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, you're a true Pokemon fan. Let me know down in the comments which Kanto Pokemon is your favorite or which one you think deserves more love. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future Pokemon videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure. Until then, keep training and catch 'em all.